How much time do you spend at the State Department?
How much what?
How much time?
Do I
focused
spend
on at the State Department?
almost every day if I'm in the country. I travel a lot.
So how much time do you spend at the other jobs if you spend every day at the State Department?
Well, now you know I can't offer you 8 hours today to answer every question on this committee, which you were complaining about earlier.
Did you anticipate or did you want, when you were sworn in to be the Secretary of State, do you want to have the jobs of USAID Administrator?
No, I did not apply for those jobs.
Did not apply
I was
for them.
asked to serve in those roles, and I'm happy to do it. The archives are doing great.
Based upon your testimony earlier, in some of these other departments, they were duplicative. So if it's duplicative, then get rid of them.
Well, you would have to pass a law to do that if you want to combine those 4 offices in your reorg.
He thought he had the upper hand. Instead, this hearing flipped in seconds. What started as an attack on the Trump administration's foreign policy turned into a relentless defense of putting America first, and the critics never recovered. Today's hearing exposed a fundamental clash over how America should conduct foreign policy. One side argued that taking on multiple leadership roles and restructuring agencies showed mismanagement. The other side pushed back with a simple message: the job is getting done, and the focus is delivering results for the American people.
Time do you spend at the State Department?
How much what?
How much time?
Do I spend
focused at the State Department?
almost every day if I'm in the country. I travel a lot. It's part of the job.
I agree. I understand. But now you have 4 jobs, don't you? Now you're not only the Secretary of State, you are also the acting USAID Administrator. You're also the acting archivist. You're also the interim National Security Advisor. You cannot spend every day at the State Department and then neglect your other jobs that you have the responsibility to do. So how much time do you spend at the other jobs if you spend every day at the State Department?
Well, now you know I can't offer you 8 hours today to answer every question on this committee, which you were complaining about earlier. Look, here's the thing. All those jobs are being done. USAID largely has been folded into the... Do you want my answer? Do you want to...
No, I just want to know this. Did you anticipate or did you want, when you were sworn in to be the Secretary of State, do you want to have the jobs of USAID Administrator?
No, I did not apply for those jobs.
Did not apply
I was asked to serve in those roles, and I'm happy to do it. The archives are doing great. The USAID has been folded under state, so it's a sort of a duplicative role. And the National Security Advisor, which is on an interim basis, has tremendous overlap with what we're doing at the State Department.
Well, then why not get rid of all of them and just put everything under you? Get rid of all those departments. If it's not crucial to have someone every day at the as a National Security Advisor, you folded in USAID, you saying the archives is fine, get rid of them. Wouldn't that be then waste? Based upon how you have determined there's waste, based upon your testimony earlier, in some of these other departments, they were duplicative. So if it's duplicative, then get rid of them.
Well, you would have to pass a law to do that if you want to combine those 4 offices in your reorg.
Well, look, that hasn't stopped you in the past because the law requires you to consult with Congress on any proposed reorganization of USAID or the State Department. That hasn't happened. I agree. It should be the Congress's responsibility. Your staff claimed, quote, that you've extensively consulted Congress on your plan to fold USAID into state. But that did not happen. All we members have gotten was 1 hour of a meeting with Pete Morocco, who you later fired and who couldn't answer our most basic questions about the aid freeze. And you've ignored, thus far, that's why I want to know about you. You've ignored nearly 20 letters from this committee seeking information about who, since you took office, as well as, we spoke one time, but not consulting this committee at all. I don't call that extensive consultation. So you're right. Things that you've done should be in collaboration with the United States Congress. But surely the USAID and all of these other things was not, Congress was not consulted one time. Senator Rubio would have demanded it.
Well, we've complied with every part of the law. Every single part of the law has been complied with, including, you, for example, have written us 16 letters. You've been briefed on 7 of them. Some of them we couldn't answer, and we told you why we couldn't answer, because they were subject to litigation. 4, you've gotten answers in writing, and 5 we've gotten just in the last few days. Well, 16 letters. I've been there 17 weeks. Right? And so what that means is we have to have a State Department that can deliver on a foreign policy that is rooted in the national interest of the United States. To defend the national interest of the United States requires us, number one, to make sure that every dollar we spend and every action we take has to have measurable outcomes that deliver for the American people. They have to either make our country safer, or they have to make our country stronger, or they have to help make our country more prosperous. It has to do at least one of those 3 things. And ideally, whether it's a program or a measure that we take, it should do all 3 of them. Now, what that means is that there are some great causes in the world. There really are. There are some great causes. There are some horrifying things that are happening on the planet. America cannot solve every single one of them. What we need to focus on is prioritizing our foreign policy to those areas that are in our national interest. Now, we will still remain the largest contributor of foreign aid and humanitarian assistance on this planet by far. The United States, even under the budget that's before you today, and the changes we have made, will still contribute more in foreign aid than the next 10 countries combined, than the entire OECD. The next closest country is not China, it's Germany, and it's way behind us, even now. But that foreign aid has to be geared towards our national interest. We need to design a State Department that delivers on that. Yes, we canceled a bunch of contracts in USAID. Some were stupid and outrageous. Others didn't serve the national interest, and others we kept. And we are folding it under the Department of State. And you know why? Because we want it to be part of the toolbox of foreign policy, not a standalone. It is not charity. Foreign aid is not charity. It is designed to further the national interest of the United States. So we will do humanitarian assistance. We will do food assistance. We will do developmental assistance. And we will do security assistance. But we will do it driven by our embassies and our regional bureaus. Because what those issues mean look very different in Guatemala than they may in Chad or in Kenya or in some other part of the world in the Indo-Pacific. And so one of the things that we have tried to do in our reorganization is drive power and influence on policymaking and decision-making to the regional bureaus and ultimately to our embassies. Our embassies, our ambassadors, are the front line of American foreign policy. The most important thing I do every single day is not read memos, it's read cables. Every night I get 10, 15 select cables from stations around the world, different embassies. The best ideas in that building come from the ground up from our embassies. Now, I want to tell you something else. Look, I did serve in the Senate for a long time, so this is a new job to me. When I got there, I'd get a memo. I still get these memos. I should have brought one today. In order for an idea to reach me, a decision to reach the Secretary of State, some of these things have to be checked off by 40 people, 40 boxes. And if any one of these people has a question, they can hold it up before the idea even ever gets to me. Now, that sounds like a crazy thing to begin with. We can't afford it in the 21st century. We have to be able to move very quickly. And a case in point is what happened last week. Syria, under a new authority, granted people with some checkered background, is on the verge of collapse potentially. And if it collapses, it will devolve into civil war. And civil war will mean that it will become a playground for ISIS and other jihadists, not to mention Iranian influence coming back in. So there's no guarantee that by outreach and working with the transitional authority in Syria, things are going to work out. It may work out, it may not work out. But if we don't reach out and try, it's guaranteed to not work out. And so we had to move very quickly to action that. If we had not done sanctions relief last week, and now the EU has followed suit, then our partners in the region could not have provided donor dollars so that transitional authority could try to stabilize its governance of the country. That place could have collapsed within weeks and become an ISIS playground once again. There is no way that a traditional system could have delivered on that. It would have gone to the interagency. It would have gone to 6 to 9 months of debate. Any individual could have held it up with an information hold, and we never would have acted. We can't afford it. The world moves too quickly. And so we need to drive policy from the ground up, from our embassies and our regional bureaus, and that's what we're doing.
Then the senator goes for the jugular. You're sitting here talking about diplomacy, but you haven't even read the spending report your own committee released last month. Meeks tries to deflect, classic move, mumbling something about ongoing reviews. And the senator fires back, "Sir, the only thing ongoing is your excuses." At that point, even a few staffers were trying not to laugh. Then came the knockout moment. The senator pulls out a chart, bright red numbers, deficit and foreign aid waste, and says, "Tell me, Congressman, which of these projects made America safer? Because last time I checked, Not one. Meeks stumbles, stutters, and tries to change the subject, and that's when the senator smirks and says, "I'll wait, I've got time. You seem to have plenty when it comes to wasting money." Ouch. That one stung. Even the chairman looked like he wanted to hide under the desk. Meeks kept trying to pivot to unity, but the senator wasn't letting him off easy. Unity? Sir, unity doesn't mean letting you spend billions with zero results. That's not unity, that's lunacy. The room erupted. Meeks sat back, red-faced, flipping through his papers, praying for a recess. By the end of that hearing, it was clear. Meeks came in, thinking he'd do the grilling, but he got cooked instead. The senator exposed the double talk, the excuses, and the waste, all with a few sharp lines and a little humor.